newly discovered disease. One thing is becoming clear: the China's silence in the earliest days of the crisis may have made it worse. It's been a month after the China announced the coronavirus outbreak. There are still surprising amount we don't know about the Dr. Li Wenliang, an ophthalmologist. He posted his story on from a hospital bed a month before. Chinese authorities muzzled several whistleblowers of the coronavirus. The Chinese authorities already delayed informing the world about the severity of a deadly disease that is spreading within the country's borders. 4 days later, he was summoned to the Public Security Bureau, where he was told to sign a letter. In the letter, he was accused of making false. 34-year-old Dr. Li sent out his initial warning, and as he noticed 7 cases of spreading rumors. Later on, the local authorities apologized to Dr. Li. In his post, a virus that he thought it looked like the SARS, and he said that the virus may go global epidemic. On 30th of December, he sent a message to the doctors in a chat group warning them to wear protective clothing to avoid infection. Wave of anger flooded the Chinese social media site when the news of Dr. Li's death broke on Thursday. He described about the disease and symptoms, and also he was diagnosed with the coronavirus on 30th January. In a statements that had severely disturbed the social order. He was one of the 8 people the police said they were being investigated for. The local authorities later on apologized to Dr. Li. And in his post, he described how he started getting the disease and the seriousness of the new virus, coronavirus, that has infected him. And he was diagnosed with the coronavirus on 30th January. The top 2 trending hashtags on the websites were Wuhan government owes Dr. Li an apology and we want freedom of speech. Both hashtags were quickly censored and the hundreds of thousands of comments had already been wiped by the authorities. The death of Dr. Li has been a heartbreaking moment for this country. For the Chinese leadership, it is a political disaster. China is introducing more restrictive measures to try the control of outbreak, and Beijing banned the group of several events. After a gap, the Chinese president was visible to the people of China who are affected with coronavirus. And Wuhan government is carrying out the door-to-door temperature checks on residents. The Chinese President Xi Jinping has visited the community health center and hospitals. And during his visit, the president urged more decisive measures to combat the virus. And as a part of measures, the China is raising many temporary hospitals in the city of Wuhan to treat the coronavirus patients. The hospital is built in 10 days in the city of Wuhan, and the patients are admitted in the hospitals for the treatment of coronavirus. The Chinese government would have the world believe that the coronavirus is under control and the risks of spreading to the rest of us is minimal. However, the foreign governments and the intelligence agencies believe that the China has been hiding about the extent of the epidemic and continues to deny the truth about the numbers of dead and infected. This is judged by leaked videos and social media. After the outbreak of coronavirus, the China has been locked down. The China is called as the workshop of the world. Manufacturers around the world have come to depend on the parts from China to keep their own supply chains going. And experts have a fear that the factories across the globe could ground to a stop if many of the plants in China remains closed due to the coronavirus outbreak. And this will create a global impact. Many big companies or stores have shut down their operations at China. All the iPhones are manufactured at China. Foxconn is a company manufacturing the iPhones in China, and it remained shut down due to the coronavirus. Petrol and diesel and other fuel prices are slashing down in different parts of the country as China is the second most populated city. And all the goods in South Asian countries are getting slowing down as China were the major producers of the goods. China and US have been locked in a long-standing trade war that has threatened to roil the global economy. United States has imposed tariffs on US dollars 250 billion of Chinese goods. China hits back with the duties on US dollars of 110 billion of US goods, blaming the US for starting the largest trade war in economic history. And since the coronavirus outbreak, the China and US signed the agreement aimed at ending the trade war. China and US have agreed on test of a phase 1 economic and trade agreement based on the principle of equality and mutual respect. And this has been reported by the news agency of China on Friday night. And according to the latest report, there was around 42,000 people has been infected with coronavirus all over the world. More than 1,000 people have died and around 4,000 infected patients have been discharged from the hospital of China.